Yours truly, the most perfect, the author who taught you. Just gonna get into it. Today we just talking about responsibility along with consequences. And consequences are not good or bad. Consequences are just the results of what you have done or not done. So the main thing we focusing on here is responsibility. And I'm going to relate this to a story in the Bible that we all know. It's the story of Adam and Eve in the garden. This story is about responsibility, is what the story of Adam and Eve is about. People think it's about them disobeying God and the devil lying to them, and the whole story just gets turned into something that you lose the point of it, which there is a point of surface level, which is responsibility, and then there's also deeper scientific understanding to the whole story in itself, or the Bible in itself in general. Now, what I'm going to talk about the surface understanding, which is responsibility. Adam and Eve are in the garden, correct? Tells them to eat from any tree. But the tree of knowledge of good and evil do not eat from. Now he advised them not to eat from this tree, told them not to eat to this tree. But as we know, if we put this in the sense of people, children in the garden, they have something called curiosity. Just as we have all been children and our parents told us, don't do that, and we still did it. Now, were we trying to disobey, or were we just curious? Because it's a level of curiosity that we didn't know why they told us not to, or we had no understanding or no wisdom. Now, moving to Adam and Eve in the garden. They were not to eat of this tree of knowledge of good and evil. First, let's break down the tree of knowledge and of good and evil. The tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay, of good and evil is just another word for saying wisdom. So, knowledge is knowing that there is a good and evil. The wisdom is knowing the difference between that good and evil. So, we have the tree of knowledge and wisdom. Stay with me. It's the tree of knowledge and wisdom. Now, we have the serpent. Now, the serpent represents in ancient times, and even in the Bible, he was the wise serpent, right? The serpent was wise. The serpent was wise. Of the wisest. Wisdom. So, the tree of knowledge and the serpent, or the tree of knowledge and wisdom. The serpent here represents wisdom. The serpent, in this understanding, represents wisdom, which the wisdom relayed to who? Let's go again, make another connection. Wisdom is also related to the woman. Okay, so that is why the woman is the one in in the story that takes the bite of the apple that did not know any better. Okay? Are you sticking with me now? Woman represents wisdom. The serpent represents wisdom. The tree of knowledge and wisdom. So the woman takes a bite of this apple. God comes back to ask Adam, what happened? Because why did he ask Adam and not Eve? Is anybody following along? He asked Adam and not Eve because Adam is the knowledge. Adam is knowing. So Adam knows better. The wisdom does not know any better. The wisdom just knows the difference. Are y'all following me? So this is why he asked Adam the knowledge. Okay. But after that, what happened? He raised Adam up. He said, look, he has become one of us, knowing the difference between good and evil. So, now that Adam and Eve, and he raised up Adam, okay? He raised up Adam, because Adam is the knowledge. So he raised the what? He raised the knowledge. So people say, why he didn't raise Eve up? Because the knowledge is with the wisdom. So if he raises the knowledge, he raises the wisdom. He doesn't have to raise both of them. So keep following along. Responsibility. So he raised up the knowledge, raised up Adam. Now he knows the difference between good and evil. He has become one of us. Now here comes the responsibility, because remember, they were children in the garden. So they didn't have any responsibility. Just as you, as a child, don't have any responsibility, you're in your Garden of Eden. We have all experienced, or some of us have been less fortunate to not, but most of us experienced the life of a Garden of Eden, to where we're at home. We don't have any bills to pay. We don't have to buy any of the food. You're a kid. You're running around, playing, watching TV, playing outside. You're having the time of your life, while your parent may be struggling with bills, trying to figure out what's this and what's that. But you're in Eden. You're in the Garden of Eden. Bliss. You're having a ball. You don't even know any better of this and that. Nothing. You just know what you want to do, and it's fun. Okay. Same thing with Adam and Eve. They were children. But when they bit that apple, knowing the difference between good and evil, this is in a sense of maturity, because now they know the difference. Now you know better. So now that you know better, you have to do better, and there's responsibilities that you have to take care of. Just as when a child, our parents would say, oh, you think you're grown, then you can get out. That's all God said to them. Now you're grown, you got to go. So, but now that you're grown, let me tell you what you got to do. Adam, you got to work. You tell Adam, you have to work, Adam. Since you're grown now, take care of your responsibility. You got to work. You got to take care of this woman. So, Eve, you got to listen to this man, follow this man, and you're going to have pain with kids. Pain with kids is not a punishment. Women have pain with all creatures that give birth is some sort of pain. So that's not part of it. The responsibility, she has the responsibility of bearing children. She has the responsibility of following Adam under his guidance, and Adam has the responsibility of guiding her correctly. Adam has the responsibility of tilling the earth. So this story is about responsibility. Not nothing else, not disobeying God and being lied to. No, this is a story of that we all go through when we're kids and we grow up and we figure out and have a new enlightenment to how the world works and bills are paid and how to make money. Then what do? You leave the garden that you were once in. But it's not a punishment. It's just time for you to be responsible. Now, the problem that, if we're going to say God had, was that he didn't want them to grow up too early. Just as our parents don't want us to grow up early. So they keep us away from certain things. But they know that the inevitable is going to happen, that we're going to experience these things. So God knew that this was going to happen. He just didn't want it to happen that soon or at that point. But once it did, like I said, God raised them up, said, hey, this is what y'all got to do. Since y'all older now, y'all see the light, y'all got knowledge and wisdom. Now, y'all got knowledge and wisdom, and both of y'all have that, and y'all in knowing of that, and y'all together. What does that knowledge and wisdom create? Understanding. And what is understanding? The child. They gave birth to understanding. It's not like about spooky, I don't know, mystical, the devil did this, God did it. No, it's a point to the story that you have to learn responsibility. You have to get knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You get enlightenment. When you get enlightenment, when you get knowledge, you get raised up. This is what the story of Adam and Eve in the garden was about: being a responsible person, growing up to your responsibility. So that is the focus of it. Not the devil, not they lied and disobeyed, and you're not going to learn anything from that story if that's what you think happened. Let's go further. They say like, oh, he told the serpent, go to your belly into the dust of the ground. Like, understand that that's not. He told that the serpent will eat of the dust of the ground. Okay, that's not a punishment either. Like, God didn't punish anybody. Okay, the dust of the ground that he banished the serpent to. You have to understand this is the same dust that he made Adam from. So this not just like any kind of dirt. This is God's dirt. Like, it got minerals and things for life in it. And he put the serpent to his belly to be. Never mind. That may be going a little further. Let's stick on the responsibility. And also, when we get to the thought, the knowledge is the tree, the wisdom being the serpent. Wisdom, the serpent also represents waves, thought waves. Like, to simply break this down, if it would be no confusion if people just would not argue about biblical things and just understand it's simply a story, a scientific book of the human. That's simply what it is. It's not a debate of who is in it. The names and stuff in the Bible don't really matter. It's the purpose and point and the information that you get from the stories. It's the things you can extract from the stories, and you shouldn't be extracting that God lied and God did this and why the hell God do that? God's stupid, or God is all of this, and he's just you're not extracting no goodness from the Bible if you're just looking at it as that. It's like it's a story. It's filled with metaphors and information that's either on a surface level or either it's on a scientific level. Both of it's all pretty much the same. In the beginning was the word. Word is what? Vibration, waves, sound. In Egypt, they talk about the waters of Nu, waves, sound. That's simple. But I mean, if you complicate it and say it's spooky and this thing you can't understand, and then I guess you'll lose the meaning of it, because the Bible is a physical book about physical things. And even when you think it's about spiritual things, the spirit is physical because the spirit is breath. That's a physical thing. You can even feel your breath. And that's what the spirit is. So it's a physical thing. That's why it's focused on Jesus coming to earth in the physical form, because it's a physical book and he's dying a physical death. It's physics, physical. So it's not any outer space spooky type thing that it was just miraculous things that are from unearthly. No, everything in the Bible was earthly. The miraculous things, if you just break it down to a simple surface understanding, or either if you can go deeper to the scientific. But like I said, the story of the Adam and Eve was about responsibility. So are you being responsible in your life? Are you taking accountability for your actions? Because that's another part of the story. Adam didn't take accountability for his actions, did he? No, he blamed Eve. He said she gave it to me. Didn't take responsibility. Wasn't accountable and blamed her. And then who Eve blamed? She blamed the serpent. The serpent. No, the serpent did it. He told me. Nobody's taking accountability. The story is about responsibility. And in responsibility is accountability. And even in your responsibility, if you do not know, you still have to deal with the consequences of your actions. So God said, well, hey, I don't care who did it. Now that y'all grown, you got to go. And that's the understanding of the story, and that's how it should be relayed, that you have to be responsible, accountable, and your actions have consequences, whether you know or not. Once it's done, that's the consequences. Once it's not done, it's it's the consequences of it. So that's the simplicity I would like to relay about the Bible. It's very simplistic on that level. And like I said, on a deeper level, it's still pretty much simplistic if you know what a wave is, thought waves, sound waves. Like that's all in the Bible. Alchemy is in the Bible. Jesus transforming uh, water to wine. That's he did some alchemy. Like masonry is in the Bible. Jesus is a so-called carpenter, a builder. Like they were in Egypt. So it's like, I don't know, this stuff shouldn't be very far fetched to people. In Egypt, what does it say? Know thyself. It doesn't say know the man out there. It says know thyself. So Bible originally coming from Egypt, story being set in Egypt, it's about thyself. It's not about outside of yourself. You have to know thyself and be responsible and be accountable. And that's really the deeper understanding of it that I can give. Now, I know people might try to debate this and stuff, but it's nothing to debate. That's what it actually says. I'm just giving you a clearer understanding through wisdom that this is what it is. Now, you can debate that about God doing this and why did God do that, and what you, like I said, you'll miss the story. You could debate why the devil did this, you'll miss the story. You could debate if the devil was, if it was a serpent, it was a talking man, if it was a snake, it don't matter. You're gonna miss the story because none of that is representation of the actual story, which is about knowledge, wisdom, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and then responsibility and being accountable and the consequences of your actions. It's about growing, getting older, enlightened, getting raised up, being out on your own. Just as everyone has experienced that is inevitable. So-called disobeying your parents is inevitable. And like I said, if you look at it as disobeying, then you don't understand because God only told them one time. So if you want to look at disobeying is more like somebody telling you something more than once and you keep doing it. God only told them not to eat from this tree one time. He didn't tell them and then come back a few chapters later. Hey, remember that tree? I said still you still ain't ate from it, have you? No, he told them one time. He told children one time not to do something, and he only told one of the children. Why didn't he tell the wisdom? Because the knowledge is knowing. The wisdom is knowing the difference. So the wisdom had to play its part by finding out the difference. And the wisdom initiated the knowing the difference between good and evil because she gave it to the knowledge, which is Adam. And he ate of the apple and now he knows the difference between, I don't know, it might be too simple for people or it might be still too complicated or complex. I don't know, but I'm putting it as simple as I possibly can. It's really not about the characters in the story, more so as it is about the story and extracting the proper information from the story so that you can better your life, not so you can argue with people about who did what. That's like y'all bringing it into today's age of gossip and, you know, I don't know, social media type stuff. People done turned the Bible into a social media topic. But why did Job do this though? But now you think God would have, like, are y'all serious? Are y'all talking about why didn't Sarah do this then? What? What does that matter? Like you're supposed to be getting extracting information from the story to create things or to better your life because it's a lot of scientific information in the Bible that you can create technology from if you understand what the Bible is saying. But if you just see it saying something that so you can debate and argue with somebody, then you're going to miss all of the jewels in the Bible. Or you're just going to hang on to words that you have no understanding of, and that's not really going to benefit you either. You're just going to become a person that praises and praises and praises, but never really understanding why or what they're praising. I'll be coming with more of these simple. I don't know what you want to typically call this, but it's very simple information pertaining to the Bible that actually helps your life. Now, anybody that hears this live will know, or I hope they know and are able to understand that. Okay, yeah, accountable, responsible. That helps me be accountable, be responsible. That helps me. My consequences, the actions, the consequences, that helps me. Doesn't matter if I know or not. And then once I become responsible, I'm in fact raised up. Wow. So the more responsible I become, then the more responsibility I'll get. Because at first, Adam just lived in the garden. When he got put out the garden, God gave him a garden because he told him you have to till the earth. So he even gave him his own. He gave him his own house. He just said you can't be here no more. So I was gonna say, if you interpret this story as bad and you got put out, and I don't know. Everybody's left their house, whether they got put out or they moved out. Eventually, it was time for you to go. The way that you went really doesn't matter. The whole point is that eventually you have to grow up, be responsible, and get out. and show what you're made of. And then it is your responsibility to create someone else to guide them the same way. So I say I hope people take correct understanding to this. This has been a great time. I've enjoyed listening to this information myself. Blows my mind again and again when you have a true understanding of what it is. Because the understanding is, the correct understanding is shared very far and few. Like I said, most people are going to debate and argue with you or just tell you it's just because God did it, or just going to tell you the story that the devil is a lie. Like, if you listen to the story of Adam and Eve in the garden and all you got was the devil is a lie, was you listening? I mean, were you really listening? All you got is the devil lie. Good Lord. And then the devil didn't even lie. And it didn't say devil, it said the serpent. And the serpent didn't lie. It said you won't die. And they didn't die. But people say, oh, they died this way, mentally or whatever. Well, okay, if they died mentally, then they were resurrected by God. So, because he raised them up and told them, here's your own place for you to take care of. So, either way, still not anything bad occurred. They grew up, they became responsible. That's it. And that's the story of Adam and Eve. Yeah, I'm going to get up out of here. Y'all follow, subscribe, more perfection, insight. As they said back in my day, I'm Audi 5000.